Welcome to The Truth About Science with your host, John Gatos. Hello, and welcome to The Truth About Science. Stargazing is a very fun hobby, and a telescope is useful if you're looking at things like planets or the moon, or nebula, or galaxies, or you can even project the image of the sun onto a card during an eclipse, or to look for sunspots. But when it comes to stargazing, you're better off with a pair of binoculars. Stars are so far away that if you try to observe one with a telescope, you're still just going to see a tiny dot. And a telescope's field of view is very narrow. The advantage of looking at stars with the binoculars is that it brings in a lot more light and it gives you enough stars to recognize what you're looking at. For example, when you're looking at a constellation, you can still see those key stars that you normally see with your naked eye, but now you see scores more stars using binoculars. Another useful tool for stargazing is a thing called a planisphere. This is a map that you can customize for the very night and time that you're observing the sky. The planisphere consists of two parts, a base and a movable disk, which rotates over the base. The point of rotation marks the position of the northern celestial pole. Inside the planisphere, we find a map that represents all of the stars visible to our particular region that this particular planisphere happens to be printed for. This region is indicated by the red stripe around the Earth at approximately 30 to 40 degrees above the equator. This works anywhere around the globe. The reason it's limited is because the Earth itself hides the southern stars from us. If we lived on the equator, we could see all the stars. This is one of the two factors that prevents us from seeing stars. The other factor, of course, is daytime. As we move through the year, we see different constellations because we get to observe other angles of the sky. A scale of months and days is marked around the edge of the base. The months are divided into 5-day segments. The movable disk has a window that reveals the constellations visible above the horizon at a particular time. The compass directions allow the window to be correctly oriented. Different constellations are visible at different times of the night because of the rotation of the Earth. A scale showing the time of day and hour is marked around the edge of the movable disk. Note that this time is local time. Allowance must be made for daylight savings time if this is in operation during the summer months. On the map, we can see radial grid lines showing lines of celestial longitude and latitude. The scale for this appears on the outer edge, marked in hours of right ascension and degrees. Circles of celestial latitude or declination, marked in degrees, appear on the map itself. The dashed line marked on the map shows the ecliptic. This is where the sun and the moon and the planets appear to move through the sky. Of course, this map cannot show you their positions because they move. And for all intents and purposes, the stars don't. To use the planisphere for star identification, locate the time of observation on the movable disk. Locate the date of observation on the base. Rotate the disk until the time points to the date. The view through the window now shows the dome of the heavens above your head. Decide what direction you're going to observe the sky, and then put that part of the marked horizon at the bottom of the window. This now represents the stars in front of you, and the top of the window represents the stars behind you. Now I'd like to show you a short video that I made before of some of the objects in the sky that you can look for. In the constellation of Orion, below the belt line, are the stars that represent his sword. Within that area is the Orion Nebula. It's the massive remnants of an exploded star. If you could get close enough to it, it would look like this. But with binoculars, it only appears as a slight smudge. Not too far from Orion are the Pleiades, which is a globular cluster of stars. To the naked eye, you are lucky to see 6 or 7 stars. With a good telescope and a long exposure, this is what it really looks like. But with binoculars, it looks more like this. Well, it certainly is fun observing the sky. If you happen to be lucky enough to live out where there is less humidity and a higher altitude, you can see many more stars with the naked eye. But you'll always be able to improve your view with a pair of binoculars. So with the use of a telescope, binoculars, and a planisphere, there's so much more to see in the sky than you ever believed. I hope you get a chance to go out and observe the sky and see some things that you've never seen before. And I hope you come back again to visit as we examine the truth about science.